Right now, we are looking at this absolutely insane situation where an Italian luxury fashion brand is basically quietly dictating the entire engineering future of a British racing team.
Yeah, it's wild.
And I mean, the whole multi-million-dollar fallout of this, it all revolves around one guy, a 43-year-old Spaniard.
Which, I mean, that sounds like a script for some corporate espionage thriller, right?
Yes, Joe.
But it is the absolute raw reality of the Formula One paddock at this exact moment.
Right. So you might be thinking the Formula One summer break is supposed to be, calm.
It's a lie. The whole summer break thing is a total lie.
Exactly. I mean, you see the social media posts, the drivers on yachts having a great time.
Sure, yeah.
But right now, this is the calm before an absolute hurricane. Look at the hard numbers we've got.
Yeah.
Right now, 12 drivers, that is more than half the grid, guys
Yeah.
have absolutely zero secure contract for 2027.
Zero. It's unprecedented instability.
Right. You've got these massive heavy hitters basically holding the entire grid hostage. I mean, look at George Russell on his 1+1 deal.
Yeah, driving for his life every single weekend.
Exactly. Or Lewis Hamilton's 2027 option, plus all this simmering tension around the exit clauses for Max Verstappen and Oscar Piastri.
Which could fracture their teams tomorrow.
Literally tomorrow. Okay, let's unpack this because the core focus of today's deep dive is the massive, explosive domino effect that is about to be triggered by just three men.
Right. Fernando Alonso, Carlos Sainz, and Franco Colapinto.
Exactly. And for you listening, I need you to understand that this isn't just about who drives where next year. No, this is about legacy. This is about constructor billions. This is about historic teams facing total irrelevance.
Yeah, because, well, like I said, the summer break is a myth. This is exactly when careers are either, forged in back rooms or completely destroyed by a single bad negotiation.
Right. So let's transition into that first domino that's just waiting to fall. Fernando Alonso.
The linchpin.
He is facing this looming, imminent decision.
Yeah.
And everyone is saying, well, he either stays at Aston Martin, miraculously jumps over to Alpine, or he just walks away entirely.
Look, I'm going to stop you right there because retirement is off the table.
You think?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, come on. Alonso's ego will fundamentally not allow him to walk away right now. He needs a final masterpiece.
Well, okay, but look at the smokescreen he's putting up. I mean, after Spa and Silverstone, he was brutally complaining, calling the cars, pathetic.
Yeah, pathetic and ridiculous.
Ridiculous to drive.
Right.
And he's standing in front of the cameras claiming his entire future depends on the FIA's 2026 and 2027 direction.
Right, which is...
I'm sorry I'm calling this out right now. This is the total violent bluff on his part.
Oh, 100%.
I mean, the 2027 and 2028 FIA regulations, they are locked in.
Yeah, the active aero, the power split, it's all public.
Everyone in the paddock knows the exact rules of the game. So this whole, I need to see the sports direction thing, nonsense.
It's complete misdirection. Because what's fascinating here is what he's actually hiding. He's hiding the mechanical reality at Aston Martin.
Which is, it's tense.
It's incredibly tense. Look, the real pressure points are the hardware. Aston Martin is bringing the AMR 26B upgrade to Hungary. And we're not talking about a little front wing tweak.
No, this is a massive overhaul.
Exactly. Massive floor and side pod changes. And then directly on its heels in Zandvoort, a massive Honda power unit update.
Right. And if those fail?
If they fail, Alonso is gone. He simply cannot endure another multi-year rebuild at his age.
Okay, but if he leaves, why on earth would he ever return to Alpine? I mean, is it just pure nostalgia? Because from a sporting perspective, it makes zero sense.
It's not nostalgia. It's 20 million reasons.
20 million?
Yes. Look, remember when Otmar Szafnauer was boss there? He made it brutally clear that Alonso left in 2022 because Alonso absolutely refused to drive for a team that was, celebrating fourth-place mediocrity.
Right, they were throwing parties for being best of the rest.
Yeah. Exactly. So why go back? Because Alpine's new overarching sponsor, Gucci, they desperately want him.
Really, Gucci?
Yes. Gucci's funding this. They want Alonso to capture their wealthy, mature target demographic. They do not want some 20-something rookie on their billboards. They want the international icon.
Oh, wow. So it's a Gucci-funded retirement tour.
Basically, yes. If Aston Martin drops the ball, he can go to Alpine, drive a flawed car, but get astronomical compensation and total internal deference.
That is, I mean, it's visceral, the idea of him taking a Gucci check to trundle around in 10th place. But, I mean, we have to conclude that staying at Aston Martin is obviously the only logical choice, right? For a post-F1 ambassador role in WEC or GT racing.
Only if the Honda engine isn't a complete disaster. If the engine works, he stays to build that legacy. If it fails, he takes the fashion money.
Right. So what does this all mean? Because if Alonso jumps, it triggers this massive lifeline for a guy who is in total despair right now. Carlos Sainz.
Yeah, the ripple effect here is huge because the reality at Williams right now, it is grim.
Beyond grim.
I mean, Sainz and Albon are losing total faith in the present and the future of that team. The technical weakness in Grove is so profound right now.
It's a complete disaster class. From the telemetry we've analyzed, their 2026 is already considered a write-off. They are totally lost until the next major chassis architecture change.
Yeah, they've lost correlation. The wind tunnel numbers don't match the track.
It's a sinking ship.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at Sainz, he is an elite driver, right? An absolute top-tier talent. And he is trapped in this sinking FW48, driving a machine that is vastly inferior to his talent.
He is.
He has to be desperately clawing at the walls for an emergency exit.
And Aston Martin is that dream escape for him. It really is. It's a team with massive financial potential, the new wind tunnel. He could actually fight for championships there.
But here's the brutal reality.
Yeah.
Lance Stroll isn't going anywhere.
No. Lance's seat is perfectly safe.
Right. So for Sainz to survive this Williams nightmare, Alonso must fail and leave.
And just think about the psychological agony of that position. Sainz is sitting in the Williams garage, and his entire championship future relies on actively hoping that another driver's engine blows up this month.
He's literally praying for the Honda power unit to fail in Zandvoort.
Exactly. Because if Alonso stays, Sainz is trapped during his prime years.
Wow. Okay, but let's take this to the final piece of the puzzle, the final domino. Because if Sainz or even Albon honestly manages to flee the Williams disaster, that opens a seat.
Right.
And that brings us to Franco Colapinto. The prodigal son returns.
Potentially, if the seat opens up.
So here are the parameters. Colapinto has an Alpine contract option, and it expires literally just days after the Dutch Grand Prix.
The timing is razor thin.
Exactly. And if Alpine hesitates for even a single second, Williams and James Vowles will absolutely pounce to get him back.
Oh, Vowles is just waiting by the phone.
But here's where it gets really interesting. Because if Colapinto has the choice, he must choose the Alpine 526 over the Williams FW48.
I completely disagree with you.
Hear me out. Even with Alpine's issues, in Formula One, you take the faster car, period. The Alpine has a higher performance ceiling. It generates more raw downforce. You do not willingly strap yourself into a Williams that we just agreed is a technical black hole.
Look, if we connect this to the bigger picture, you are totally ignoring the human element of car development.
Am I?
Yes. Because a rookie in this specific phase of their career, they need confidence. They do not need 0.2 of a second in a completely toxic environment.
But 0.2 is the difference between Q2 and Q3.
A faster car driven by a paranoid rookie is a slow car, period. You have to look at Alpine's bizarre management moves right now. Look at the Nielsen situation.
Right, Steve Nielsen.
The sporting director. He quit because the internal corporate matrix was so convoluted he couldn't make basic decisions.
It was designed by committee.
Exactly. And that internal doubt trickles down. The garage loses its anchor. Strategy calls are second-guessed. If you're Colapinto trying to find the limit in a braking zone and your pit wall is basically in a civil war, it's disastrous.
Okay, that's a fair point on the toxicity.
Contrast that with Williams.
Yeah.
Think back to late 2024. James Vowles protected Colapinto like a son. He gave him an environment that actually tolerated mistakes so he could shine.
Right. He shielded him from the media.
Yes. Williams is the ultimate trampoline. You go there, yes, you sacrifice a tiny bit of current pace, but you get total undivided team backing. You build your racecraft.
I mean, I initially scoffed at that, but I have to concede. The long-term strategic brilliance of taking the slower car for the sake of your mental sanity and career longevity, it makes sense.
It's the only way a rookie survives this era of F1.
Yeah, wow. Okay, so bring this all full circle, right? Just think about how insanely interconnected this all is.
Of House of Cards.
Literally. A single Honda engine update, a thermal cooling issue in Zandvoort, could trigger Alonso's exit,
Right.
which unlocks Sainz's escape from the Williams black hole. which ultimately dictates whether Colapinto signs a Gucci-adjacent deal with Alpine or goes back to his F1 family at Williams. The stakes absolutely could not be higher this month.
It's high-speed Jenga with multi-million-dollar budget caps.
Yeah.
One piece falls, three teams collapse.
Exactly. So, you listening to this right now, ask yourself this. Let's say Aston Martin completely drops the ball this month. Does Fernando Alonso's pride actually let him accept a massive paycheck to just tread water at Alpine? Or does his frustration blow up the entire 2026 grid out of pure spite?
Honestly, I wouldn't put it past him to blow it all up.
Right. We'll see. Listen, if you want to be there when these dominoes actually fall, and they're going to fall soon, you need to follow Paddock Notes on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok right now.
Yeah, hit subscribe, because honestly, getting those subscriber numbers up is the only way the two of us are going to secure our own massive 2027 contracts.
Exactly. We need that Gucci money too.
We really do. We're driving for our jobs here, people.
We are. So get in the comments, tell us where you think Alonso lands, and we will see you on the next deep dive.